Morning, everybody. It's Dan again, Dust Off Ranch. I just wanted to come to you guys yesterday today, talk about yesterday, which was the 80th anniversary of D-Day. If you are unfamiliar with it, know very little about it, I would highly recommend reading about it. Our greatest generation who sacrificed all for us, it's their day, and there are so few World War II veterans left. If you have an opportunity, please talk to them and listen to their stories. I wanted to come to you and talk to you about it today because I was flying yesterday for work, flying back from Denver, and I saw a documentary that made me think about this a lot on the whole flight. I'm not endorsed by this documentary. They haven't said anything to me about it, but I'm going to say it. I want people to go out and watch it. It touches home. It's called A Girl Who Wore Freedom. And it's about D-Day in France from the French perspective. And you'll learn a lot. The way they took care of our veterans, the soldiers from D-Day, from the day of and to this day, how they care when they come for the ceremonies, how they take them in, they feed them, they drive them everywhere they need to go. Without touching on too much stuff, they understood what oppression was because they were under the Nazi regime for at least 5 or 6 years, until the Americans came and we liberated them from the Nazi control. And so to this day, they are still appreciative. They've even passed it on to their generations now, the younger generation, and they're still appreciative. In fact, one thing I wanted to comment on is they take the responsibility of caring for the grave site of each soldier. So a family will basically adopt a soldier's grave site and they care for that year round, and they passed it on through generations, and they still do it. Listening to one of the veterans talk about that, the cemeteries over in France for the D-Day soldiers are better taken care of than our veteran cemeteries here in the United States, which is sad, that we don't take more pride in our veterans that have sacrificed everything. Listening to them, this was done 5 years ago at the 75th anniversary. So there were more veterans, World War II veterans then than there are now. Listening to their stories, listening to how they're better treated over there than they are here at home, which is something that hit home for me, because we would have nothing if it wasn't for them. And so I ask myself every day, and I ask everybody else to ask this of themselves, did you earn their sacrifice? What they gave up. A lot of them gave up their youth and gave up their future for us to have ours. So I challenge everybody to earn their sacrifice every day. Please go out and watch it. It's a read about it, D-Day. I know recently it just came out on Apple TV, was Masters of the Air. It probably came out it was planned to come out right before D-Day, so it finished about a month or so before D-Day. So it helped me start getting back into it. I've always been a big history buff, especially for World War II, because my dad was, and that's how I got into aviation. It was because of World War II. My dad loved going to air shows and going to see the warbirds. We had an uncle. I know very little about him. My dad would talk about him very little. But I remember going to his hospital bed in 75, 76 when he died of cancer. He was a tail gunner in a B-17 during World War II. I was too young at the time to even talk to him, probably to even ask anything of importance. I remember my dad talking about him. So we're losing them a lot, and I'd be surprised if there's probably a couple thousand left. I challenge people to go out there when you see them. Don't just thank them for their service. Sit down with them, talk to them, listen to their stories. You don't know how much that would mean to one of them, and take the time to do that, because they sacrifice so much for us. It's the least we could do is listen to their stories and help them out. So with that being said, I hope everybody, I know it was yesterday, but they took some time just to remember those who sacrificed so much for us. Kids that were 16, 17, 18 years old that were storming the beaches of Normandy. Kids lied about their age to get into the military because they felt that it was that important. So I challenge you guys to please go out there, maybe read up on it, watch this documentary I mentioned, get to know our history, our real history, and I guarantee you won't be disappointed. And with that being said, thank you again for taking the time out of your day to watch this, and I hope you all have a great day. Thank you.